It is the Monday after Comic-Con. I am bursting over. There's a lot to talk about on Versus Day. So let's do it. I'm Chris Gore from Film Threat. Alan Ng is waiting in the wings and our all-star lineup of pundits. A couple of them are legit nerds. I'll say that. So let's get going. It's Monday. This will get things started. Let's go. How's it going, everybody?
All right. Here we go.
How did we all survive comic? This is the most busy I've been at Comic-Con in years. Rob, I saw you a couple times, watched your SmackDown panel, did a lot, but let's introduce everybody here. Let's go around the horn.
Hey, I'm the Script Doctor. Happy to be here on another exciting episode of Versus, where there's lots to talk about and lots to explore, really.
Angry Badger met almost everyone here, including Lori at the meetup, which I'm still coming down from. That was great. I meet and stream with my heroes. Anyway, really excited to talk about Deadpool Wolverine and then the reaction and how polarizing it is for Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, Alan Ng, editor-in-chief of Film Threat. And Chris, I have a baby to bring you.
Oh, God.
I'm Robert Marburnett, and this is my 36th Comic-Con. Started going in 1988. I think it kind of was a return to form for the convention. I had a great time, and of course, I got to promote my own audio drama that I'm making, True Noir, with my actors. I took my actors, and it was a lot of fun.
Hey, what's up, guys? Dante for Verbal Riot. I'm still recovering from Comic-Con, man. My muscles are still sore. I look like hot. You know what? I look bad right now.
And that's our lineup for today. We might have some latecomers, but let's talk about Comic-Con right off the bat for those who attended. What were your highlights? And then we'll get specific as we go through the announcements. So I guess I'll start. It was crazy. I got in a Hall H with Gary from Neurotic, saw him getting pat down. That was not new for him. I'll share because I'm like, oh my God, I've seen Gary get pat down. I said, this isn't new for you, is it?
Did it make him feel like home?
Yeah, I was like, you feel more comfortable? Let's see. Here's the video here of Gary getting pat down here at Comic-Con as he enters Hall H.
Are you getting a Hall H, Gary?
For the Marvel panel.
Oh,
so crazy. But
Gary,
I had a great time. Got some fun stuff. Yeah, awesome.
But everyone was getting pat down, not just Gary.
Rob, you didn't make the panel, but I got your placard here. You probably have a.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's my 34th Comic-Con. You beat me.
Hey, Chris, you gotta stop that video.
Yeah, something's off with the sound.
Oh, sorry.
are you getting a Hall H, Gary?
Yeah, I'll stop it. I will stop the video.
Stop the video.
My apologies, folks.
There you go.
Yeah, so a lot of fun.
Wait, so were they patting down everybody or just Gary?
No, everybody.
Okay.
Like Gary got special attention.
it was random.
Yeah, it was random. What else? What about you, Dante, Badger, Robert?
I mean, you very generously offered to get me into Comic-Con, but regrettably, I had to leave after the meetup, and so yeah, I know. Don't worry, I'll still kick myself for that. But no, it was great meeting you guys, and I can't wait for next year.
Nice.
I got there Friday, so I was like the latecomer.
You
know what, man? It was a good time. I will say this though, and Chris, me and you talked about this Saturday. The vibe was a little different though this year. I don't know. It felt a little low for me. It seemed like less cosplayers this year.
Yeah,
I thought so too.
And it's weird because last year was the strike, and there were no celebrities there last year, but the vibe seemed better last year.
Well, a lot more horrible things have come out.
Fewer cosplayers, but In general, it was like a lot of what people were saying is Comic-Con is back, right? Hollywood is there. You've got like the attendance was packed, like it was packed from Wednesday through Sunday, never let up. So it's back.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely back, and I had a good time for sure. But I just felt like it was a little different. But other than that, I mean, I felt like I saw the panel. Like the only panel I was there to really see, I saw, and I was happy about that. Which was, well, besides the film thread panel, of course, was the Mortal Kombat panel, which I saw Friday. I had a great time, and it was huge. It was like they took up three sections of the ballroom. So, I mean, it was a very large panel, and to see all the gamers there together and really hyped, like I felt like that was kind of energizing, especially considering I woke up at 5 a.m. to drive down to San Diego. So I was completely spent by 4 p.m. that evening. And it was a good time though.
Alan, you went to the X-Men 97 panel, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just piggyback off of Dante. It did feel different, and I didn't, honestly, I was there just to hang out with you, with Gary, with the gang. It was just hanging out with people and talking geek stuff. But I did attend, ironically, 2 panels in a row: the X-Men Original Series panel, followed by the X-Men 97 panel. And I will say this: I believe season 2 of X-Men 97. It will turn on us. It will turn on us.
Really?
Uh-oh.
Oh my!
Well, they're going to change everything Bo did. They're going to change everything Bo planned.
They had to have done a panic on it because they actually recorded season 2 before he was.
Yeah. They said they're revising it, which means they're going to change just enough so that they could take his name off the credits, or change the things that he refused that probably got him fired.
But they have the original 2 of the 3 original creatives from the original series in the panel before that, and they went on at length to talk about how the comic books were their script, how the comic books were their storyboards, and that how all 10 people working on the series, when they wanted to turn X-Men into Super Friends, all 10 of them said, if you're going to do that, we're all leaving. And
wow.
The guns and said,
That's
no, we're going to tell the stories that Chris Claremont wrote and everyone else, and that was their goal in that original series.
So,
and the head guy was black. He was a black.
Yeah.
Wait, so are you saying that none of the people from the first, from X-Men 97 are going to be part of the second season, or?
Yeah, well, Larry Houston, he's the guy who was in charge, and he's on definitely as a consultant, and I believe he worked with Bo DeMeo quite extensively.
Wow.
Yeah, but the writer coming in to replace him is the guy from What If.
Yeah,
But
but let's be real. Let's be the writer they're bringing in. He was the number 2 guy below Bo.
Yeah.
Before we get to all the Comic-Con news, we need to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. And this will be a spoiler conversation, people. So just be aware. Spoilers. There should be a warning at the bottom, a ticker, but that's okay. Hey, joining us late. Here we go. The DA, Derek Anderson. Hey, man.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How's everybody doing today?
Doing great.
Good.
Talking. Well, before we get to the Comic-Con news, let's talk Deadpool and Wolverine. Alan and I have already weighed in with our opinions. Love to hear your opinions, and there are spoilers now, so dip out if you haven't seen it. Love to hear what each of you thought about the film. I assume you've all seen it.
I've seen it twice, so that should give you a hint of what I thought about it.
Yeah, right. I think it was best time I had in the theater in a long time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fan service. The cameos were phenomenal. Kind of brought me back to the early 2000s when those old comic book movies, in the infancy of the comic book renaissance. Just a lot of fun. Had a blast. Light on plot. I don't think the plot was the best, but I think that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds gave us, in my opinion, the best performances as Deadpool and as Wolverine. I enjoyed both of those guys.
Yeah, I like it, and I realize people say there's no plot because no one watched Loki, and I understand that. But the plot was that a rogue TVA agent hires Deadpool after his universe is tasked for deletion. This TVA agent thinks he has a better plan, so he hires Deadpool to to ostensibly prune that universe, get it over with. And Deadpool doesn't like that. So to save his family, the only people he gives a shit about, rather than doing that, he's gonna fix the problem another way, and that's find the anchor for his universe, and that's Logan. Unfortunately, the Logan we all love is gone, and he has to get the worst one ever. And they go on a road trip buddy movie, 48 hours thing to save his universe. I loved it, and this was not an MCU movie. It's everything I thought it was going to be. It's a love letter.
No, this was
Fox.
clearly a Fox movie.
Yes, it's a Fox movie. It's a Ryan Reynolds movie.
Here's the real plot of the movie. Deadpool and Wolverine are on screen.
Yes,
actually, that's what it
and
really
I'm here for all of it. Music. I teared up a couple times. Hugh Jackman's God damn, he's a good actor. Hugh Jackman and Ryan together finally getting their stuff, and everything I thought I was going to hate, including Cassandra Nova, who I got a weird thing for now. It was the Enya Boxset line. And he got his happy ending. And if you never saw them again, we will. But if you never saw them again, I would be happy. Goodbye. It's not going to say Fox, but they got their ending, and I got my third movie. It wasn't ruined, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are nitpicks. My biggest nitpick is the TVA stuff. I think it's weak. And Rob, I'd like to hear you about this. It's so weak to say, you need to show human stakes. When they say the multiverse is at stake, or your universe is at stake, we don't see people. We just see a screen looking at branches that are somehow, it's like looking at a phone with the battery percentage dying. There's no drama inherent in that. It is so weak, the way they have portrayed the multiverse. Show us the consequences. Show us worlds imploding. Show us people dying across the galaxy. Show us something that gives us some indication of what the stakes are and why it matters. All we see is a status bar of the multiverse, which is just straight up lame. By the way, Red Letter Media liked the movie. I watched their review this morning.
So sadly to say this, DC on the television side of things did their thread of the multiverse a little bit better with regards to special effects. They had this giant red wave, and then people would vanish and disappear.
Please! What, you want to see a big white or blue? That's the point.
Shut
it
up,
all
Badger.
comes down to
Quiet,
a big
Badger.
energy.
Please, shut up, Badger. Okay, I'm tired of your stupid pontificating on this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I let you speak. How about you shut your trap and let me speak? This is versus, right? We're supposed to do it this way. Are we?
We're about to versus.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that Chris Gore is absolutely right. We didn't see any visual stakes or consequences with regards to the premise, which is that this universe is going to be destroyed. Unfortunately, we saw it on a television show from Warner Brothers at CW that actually tried to do it. It was still horrible on the CW side. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather watch Deadpool and Wolverine than that again, because Deadpool and Wolverine is still fun and entertaining. But the fact of the matter is that, yes, this does not have much of a plot, and it also doesn't have much of a stakes there that actually have any meaning to it. This is really dependent on the internals between Wolverine and Deadpool, because we don't know exactly why Wolverine is the worst there is. All we get told is that he let his friends die when he didn't really join the X-Men. So we have to be told that. We're not shown that. We need to be shown those things in order for us to really understand and feel a weight to it. This movie is actually a big, fun set of vignettes that are comedically driven and have an emotional weight to them for the characters, but it's not a plot-driven movie. And I think because it's missing a little bit extra on that plot, it's going to have massive legs for the comedy. It's going to have massive legs for the cameos. But I think it's also a little thin in regards to the rest of what the Deadpool series and what it's going to do for the MCU, because it's not going to save it. This is just a fluke, a diamond in the rough right now.
Yeah, I completely
and we should
agree.
enjoy it for what it is.
A few more MCU movies in the future.
I agree 100% that it's all about those characters, and they leaned into your love of Wolverine. What is it? 25 years he has played that character. That montage at the end over credits with the music was phenomenal.
He's been the only Wolverine.
They used some of our footage from our documentaries in that. I was shocked. I was like, we made that.
Yeah. Hope you get a check.
And that's what I was thinking. It was a work for it. But I have a little different take, I think. I have to say that I really enjoyed watching the movie. I thought it was really fun, but I found it profoundly disappointing on on a level that I was not expecting. So they've done a Wolverine multiverse time travel film that I thought was excellent, which is Days of Future Past, where we saw a film that had real stakes. We saw what Wolverine was fighting for because we saw the mutants at the beginning battling Sentinels and getting wiped out. I felt that, like you said, Scripty, this movie to me, I was watching it and I kept waiting for it to start. I'm like, when is this movie going to start? And then I realized it's never going to start. It's just going to be this funny bunch of stuff that happened. And at the end, I never felt like I was following a plot that was cohesive. You know, Deadpool asked the question, why is Thor crying looking at me? Well, they never answered that. It was never in the film.
But they will in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe. I mean, I just thought as I watched the movie, because we've already seen, I thought Days of Future Past had real weight to it. When Wolverine wakes up in the 70s, there's a lot of fun to be had there. You know, he wakes up in bed with a woman. These guys come in. And there was a really interesting, compelling plot. But then I felt, for me personally, that the MCU, the introduction of the TVA destroyed the MCU because they took what actually they were doing a good job creating their own internal logic. They showed us all the different realms. We could jump from Asgard to nowhere to Dormammu, and I bought into all of that. Where I didn't buy in was a Terry Gilliam-esque time variance authority that suddenly felt like it was from an entirely different franchise or universe. And there's a silliness to it, to the TVA, that I thought, and I felt this about Loki season 1, that was not appropriate for the rest of the MCU. And by leaning into the TVA, going to the void, giving us this Mad Max look at all these characters, I'm like, where are we? What is this? And I felt like, as a film, because I was really hoping for a legitimate story with stakes, because Deadpool 1 has that.
Yep.
For all the Deadpool 1, I think, is a pretty wonderful movie, and it combines real pathos with great action, great set pieces, really great comedy. The romance works. And I felt this film was kind of all over the place. It felt like I was kind of at a drunk frat party. I was really enjoying myself and all these crazy antics were happening. When I left the next morning, I'm like, I don't need to do that again. And that's kind of how I felt about this movie.
Did you feel that kind of reset with each significant location change?
It did. It turned into a different film over and over and over again. And this overarching plot, first of all, Cassandra Nova, was a really interesting villain when Grant Morrison introduced her in the comics. Really terrifying. And I'm like, it's just so she just, is hanging out in the void, and I like it here. I get to be here and do what? Hang out.
It was interesting how many men she fingered in the movie. Robert, I'm sorry to inform you that there are some people who disagree with you, and that is people with money.
I'm all about that. I love seeing movies succeed. I just expected more from this film.
I hear you. I saw it twice. Alan and I saw it in Hall H on Thursday, where we all got popcorn buckets, and they really wowed the crowd with that. But a second time, definitely you see the flaws. At the same time, I love those characters.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the character is what they get right. Marvel has always had sort of thin on plot and weak villains. The only people who seem to have done that well are the Russo brothers. But here we go, just to get it out there, $211 million, biggest R-rated weekend, and it's global is. Let me just make sure I get it right. Million. Is it 443?
444.3.
444, ironically, 0.3 global box office. So that is let me ask this question. Endgame or Spider-Man No Way Home, Infinity, but that's an impressive debut.
That's great.
And I guess, is there superhero fatigue? Is there
Never has
bad
been.
movie fatigue? I don't know. We'll see.
It's
Let
always
me ask
bad
this
movie
question.
fatigue
Of the
because
444 million, how many of them knew Deadpool lore? How many of them read a Deadpool comic book? How many of them knew who Cassandra Nova was before? I think this number is because of two people, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, and probably Hugh Jackman more.
That's why I went to see it.
Yep.
No idea who Cassandra Nova is.
That's why the phrase in Hollywood, "male and pale is money." That's what they're saying now.
well, male and pale is a sale. That's really what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
No, we just want great characters in these films, and that's the thing that has been Marvel's strength, characters. Not recently, but I do think we'll get into it with the news later about how they're going to turn it around.
But I do agree. I do agree with Rob on one thing, man. I've never ever liked the idea of the TVA. I even thought it was dumb in the comics, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was dumb in the comics.
I never liked the TVA, and especially the way the MCU, the way they did the Infinity Stones and just kind of made them worthless because of the TVA.
Yeah.
It just really took away from everything that the MCU built. I was a little disappointed that they used that for Deadpool and Wolverine, but I feel like it didn't take away from my experience of the movie. Like, I still had a great time with the movie. Like I said, best time in the theater I've had in a while. But
Oh, no doubt. I agree with you, dude. I think it was monumentally entertaining. I just thought it could have been so much more than it was.
Yeah, no, and I will definitely agree with that. For
Yeah,
sure.
needed more diversity, for one thing.
Well, I mean, I think with the runtime. So, like, to your point, Dante, like, you make actually a really great point because, yeah, the TVA, the Loki stuff, they kind of tampered and diminished a little bit of the Infinity Stones because they actually didn't do the execution right. The whole idea was that the TVA is supposed to be more powerful than the Infinity Stones. The next big bad to fight to overcome is the TVA, because at this point here, you have that escalation in stories, right? So, okay, if you have the Infinity Stones, that's the most powerful thing in the universe. Well, if the Avengers can defeat that, that means they can defeat anything. So we need to introduce something that's more powerful than them. And by doing so, we have to also show the metric that, oh, it's so much powerful that we find that the Infinity Stones are kind of disposable. But the way that they presented that didn't come across as it's more threatening. It came across as, oh, this is just a corporate, bureaucratic villain, as opposed to something that's actually imposing and damaging. And they completely botched that entire method to the point where now they've basically said, we're sidestepping this for what we're doing here. We're bringing back the Russos. We're bringing back at least, I think, Stephen McFeely. I don't know about Marcus or one of the others, but either way, because they're a writing team, they should be paired. But then when we go into Deadpool, it's like, yeah, we're actually going to now make fun of the TVA and acknowledge that we botched it. And we're going to make fun of it.
And let's be real.
Paradise character has no real motivation to do what he's doing other than he wants to.
Well, I was going to say, let's be real about why we even got a Deadpool and Wolverine, right? It's because the MCU has failed up to this point. And that's the only reason why we got this, right?
Love the acknowledgement.
We got this. And on top of that, too, if you remember the post-credit scene of Deadpool 2, there's that scene in X-Men Origins Wolverine that they reshot with Deadpool killing the other Deadpool and talking to Hugh Jackman saying, you got to join me on the next one. You have that 8 years of anticipation. So, like, the moment that movie ended, people were like, we want to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and Fox would have been ready to go with it, except they were just purchased by Disney. So now you have Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman slowly teasing for the last 8 years that they want to do a movie together. And then they do that big announcement, three years ago, just under 3 years ago. And then we get into it. So now we have the anticipatory market, which allowed for this awesome box office to happen. And the fact that it is a very character-driven story and a very character-centric buddy cop relationship, I think really just allowed this to take off the way it did over the weekend. It will give it some legs for at least the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, next week's box office will say a lot as to whether our criticisms of the story has legs. Because if it doesn't drop significantly like Mad Max did or Furiosa, everything we say, the general public is not into the lore like we are.
No, it's not even about that. They're going back because they have to listen to the jokes that they didn't get when they were laughing so hard. And that's a great gimmick to get people back into the theaters. Yep. They're laughing so much that they said, oh, I missed some jokes. I got to go back and see them and hopefully catch them again. You can get maybe another weekend, 2 weekends out of that if it's a really good crowd and a really good vibe.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to buy an extra ticket just to get this for Chris. I mean,
and Script, to answer your question as far as, what do you do after the Infinity Stones? Well, instead of nerfing them, instead of having 10 years of buildup built off of the Infinity Stones, instead of making them worthless, you bring in Galactus. That's the next big bad. or that's what should have been, right?
Yep.
We should have had a break. We introduced the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Galactus. That's the next big bad. Instead of nerfing 10 years of work with this stupid show.
They nerfed it with a bad execution, as opposed to, oh, the Infinity Stones are gone. Oh, the Infinity Stones were the only thing holding back Galactus. Oh, holy crap! We got that was it. That's what you did. Like, that's how you do it, because Kang is a good lead up to it because he's a time traveler. So you'd have live, die, repeat type of thing, where how do you beat a time traveler who can, every time he kind of quote unquote loses, he can go back in time and reset and then make it harder for the Avengers to defeat. That's a battle of wits story. But they didn't have anyone with wits to write that. So now they have to go and basically toss out that idea with Kang and what they're doing, bring in Galactus with the Fantastic Four, make the Eternals, reference the Eternals, that the Celestial, with now that's calcified, that calcification is adamantium. And that's how you get your X-Men involved in that, which means that mutants are no longer going to be a generational thing. It's going to be that now this is a newer thing. Like, this is a new subset of humans that have popped up post Thanos snap, possibly as a result of the Thanos snap.
Now, Alan, you put in our planning document this headline, so take it away, Alan.
Yeah, so I don't know how she gets these numbers, but I'm going to assume they're true. But our favorite critic, Grace Randolph, yesterday showed that of the opening weekend, Hispanics and Latinos, Latinxes, comprised of 32% of the total box office, beating out white people. Caucasians, and then blacks and Asians.
What if I count for two of those?
Right. But the thing is, the ultimate question is Hispanics and Latinos, they didn't exactly see themselves in this movie. And yet they came out.
Well, maybe through Daphne Keene, right? Isn't she Latin?
Yeah, that's the reason why they came out to see this movie.
I don't understand. Why does this matter? I mean, look, I guess I did not know this. I guess in the comics, Deadpool is bisexual.
Pansexual.
Okay. Do we have pansexual data?
Well, here's the
percentage
thing. When you ask why does it matter, it doesn't matter. But when you continue this argument of, well, you need more representation in your movies, therefore more people will come out. Again, Deadpool and Wolverine didn't exactly have Hispanic Latino representation, yet they came out anyways, which kind of destroys this argument of I need to see myself on the screen.
Right. The representation for the Latino and Hispanic audience is the care of family, and family was kind of an element to Deadpool in the trailers. It's like these 9 people that he cares about, that's his family. That's what he wants to do. The reason the Fast and the Furious franchise is successful is because of their focus on family. Because those first 2 movies did not do well compared to the subsequent movies after, when they started focusing way more on family in those films. Like Tokyo Drift was fun, but it's kind of considered like low key. Then Fast 4 came out, and that hit more on family. And what I remember at the time, at least when that was something I was orbiting, is all the metrics came in that, Hispanic and Latino people really love this Fast 4 movie. They really love this franchise because it's huge on family. That's the values that they cherish. If we keep pushing that, we could do this thing forever. And look at what looks like the Fast Furious films are going on forever.
Yeah. Unfortunately. And look, if I bring in the international box office, the number 1 country outside the United States, China, the second one, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I can't imagine translating this for the Chinese audience, how they take all the colloquialisms and translate those into Mandarin.
They didn't have
I
to
am
shrink
going
anyone
to
on
guess,
the poster.
I'm going to guess, Rob, the jokes were different. They were localized.
Yeah. I mean, the appeal of the movie was the violence.
Mm-hmm.
The
physical gags and the physical violence, that's easy to translate because there are some great moments in there. But Mandarin and Cantonese don't have as much of a varied lexicon compared to English when it comes to homonyms, synonyms, and all those types of things. Like, they don't even have a word for funky in Mandarin or Cantonese. They don't. But we know what that means. It means either music or weird, strange smell. They don't have a word like that. So a lot of the stuff that Deadpool and Wolverine are saying to each other into this might have to be relocalized for those audiences.
Yeah, and let's not
almost pointless.
And let's not forget, this is the MCU's gayest film.
Really?
No, it really is. I mean, it's their gayest film. Dude, they talk about pegging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that goes all the way back to Deadpool 1.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
International Women's Day.
Plenty.
Yep.
Wow. Well, clearly a success. We will see about week 2 because these big Marvel event movies, huge rush to see it week 1 because you don't want to get spoiled. And then week 2, huge drops for both Thor and Multiverse of Madness. So it's really about the second weekend if there's a huge hit. Will it hit $1 billion?
Yes, easily.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Easily.
I think it easily
billion.
Well, because what's coming out next? There's a month until Aliens comes out.
I also think, Chris, that because this delivers on the comedy, I want to see it again just because the jokes went by so fast that I know that there's things I missed. Yeah.
Right.
They still work. Yeah,
I
Captain
mean,
America's
if it's
gonna
a
lose all
fun
this, by the way.
movie, if it's a fun movie, there's always rewatchability. There's always a willingness to go back into the thing. Hey, man, I had a great time. Like, okay, let's go watch it again. And if you have a friend that hasn't seen it, you're willing to join in, and then you can, anticipate the jokes and then get the reaction from your buddy. And all of that kind of stuff works because the movie is fun. It's about characters. It's not necessarily like the story is non-existent in my opinion, but you have a fun, exciting, buddy cop, two guys getting in arguments, getting in fights. That's gonna always bring people back. This has very high rewatchability factor in my opinion, and it's getting great word of mouth. I don't think anybody's really ragging it on Rotten Tomatoes or any of the other review sites. So when people are going to get other opinions, they're hearing all of our opinions. They're on YouTube. I don't think anybody's really given it a terrible review yet. So I mean, all of that plays right into the fact that this thing is going to get great numbers next week. Maybe a big drop, but I still think it's probably over 100 million. In the weekend box office.
My Regal down the street is the worst performing Regal in all of the Regals. They had a 9:30 a.m. showing this morning, and I saw it's 20 tickets sold, which is pretty good.
Wow. Good for that I just think at the end of the day, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are big draws, and they're going to reach $1 billion. They
have a genuine chemistry. I watched last night the Hot Ones episode with the. God, I was dying. That if you've seen that show, Hot Ones, great episode with the two of them. I mean, Hugh Jackman is legit like freaking out. Their banter back and forth. They clearly like each other in real life. But I agree with you, Derek. Like the story is lame. It's only an excuse for character moments. Mm-hmm. Like that's it. That whole story is just like, well, they can have this character moment now, this character moment.
Like it's like a sketch variety show.
Yes, they could do a variety show.
That was what they did. Every trope, they acknowledged they were doing it. They did it anyway, and they did it well. The music hit, beautiful moments, Hugh's performance every time. Yes, we've seen him cry and talk about something horrible he did many times as Wolverine. That's my other point is like, this is just something in comics all the time. There's a bunch of multiverses. There's 70 Earths right there. Batman has been on all of them. I care about all of them because they're all contextual to that. They probably should have spent more money and shown the actual people, but I don't know. I enjoyed it for what it was, and they didn't do any of the horrible things I thought they were going to do.
Yeah. And lastly, it acknowledged everything we've been saying about Marvel for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It's an acknowledgement that they know what we're feeling about this, about Marvel since Endgame.
Ableism, all the jokes, and he made them before we could. I was like, oh, there you go. Self-awareness.
So, we will segue into all the Marvel news from Hall H. Mm-hmm. I was there with Gary from Nerdrotic. Somehow we got in. We were in Hall H in this corral. It was really weird. So they put us in this area like a corral. We got there at 3. We had to stand the entire time. We could not sit down. And we were allowed one bathroom break. They wrote our name on a badge. We had to hold it, because we had to wait 3 hours for the Marvel panel. And so it's just a weird thing. And I'll say this, the security there was tighter than Secret Service in Pittsburgh. That's all I'll say. In Pennsylvania, they were real, truly tough security. But we saw the panel. I was sort of up front, but off to the side on the stage. We had to suffer through a couple bad panels. One in particular that inspired this tweet. I'm going to share stuff from my timeline. There was a panel with the Power of Women in Hollywood panel. I'm not going to Whoa, wow.
Did they do the chant?
I have never seen more smoke blowing up their collective asses than at this panel, which inspired. I said, sometimes when I hear people speak on panels at Comic-Con, I think to myself, did you cure cancer or make a TV show? You would not believe the reverence to which they all referred to themselves. It was kind of scary, actually. But here's what I saw at the con. We'll look at some of these videos here. And
by the way, that panel was there to clear out Hall H before the Pick Marvel panel.
Well, yeah, but nobody left.
Oh.
Nobody left. And I'll tell you what we saw. I'll tell you exactly what we saw. We saw, it's telling. Here's what we didn't see at the Marvel panel. And I'll get to these videos. We'll watch some of them. We did not see a timeline laid out. There's not a phase 5 and 6 with, like this movie in 2025, nothing. There was no
Smart.
There was no phases.
Good.
Feige said at the beginning, we are going to present 4 movies. And that was it. The panel was a little over an hour, like hour 15. So it was fast. And all they did was talk about 4 films. So no laying out of a timeline of phases. And there was no mention of anything Marvel TV. They did not show Agatha. They did not show Ironheart or announce a release date.
That was smart.
Any Daredevil Born Again?
And I hear, and I've mentioned this, Marvel has cleaned house.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that doesn't know the comics or is specifically pushing an agenda, fired. They're gone. They fired quietly about 6 months ago all those people and said, just look, you're out. I only want people who know it. We're going to give the audience. Basically, the word I heard is Kevin is he's of a mindset of, we tried it. It's not resonating. Audiences don't love it to the tune of box office. And he specifically made mention that up to date, Marvel Studios has grossed collectively $30 billion.
After 35 movies.
Yeah. Mic drop, and is still making movies that are coming to theaters, right? So mic drop, Kathleen Kennedy, your move. So you've got one guy, shepherd of the franchise, who said, yeah, let's try this. Let's go. We'll go diverse. We'll go messaging.
50% women.
Well, yeah, we will give, we'll uplift voices. You know what? Doesn't resonate mainstream. People want great characters and story.
Did he really need all of that to know this would happen, though? Really?
True, but all I'm saying is we tried it. Getting back to now, you've got a couple more movies. There's a couple more movies that will be out. And I'll tell you what I saw. What's that?
Thunderbolts, Captain. I'm just wondering, they have to tank all these movies to eat up the money they're making.
The next year, I promise you, will be a year of duds.
Yes.
Agatha, Ironheart. I was not impressed with Captain America.
Hasn't Ironheart been done for over a year?
Yes,
been in the can for 2 years. Yeah,
they're gonna echo that. It'll drop in one day.
So, they want to shelve it, but they can't because of optics.
Yeah. So I
think one of the biggest points you made, Chris, is that they just focused on the movies, because I've been saying that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is about movies. It's not about Disney Plus stuff. And they had to get away from Disney Plus at some point in time and start focusing back again on actual theatrical releases and focusing on bringing us, quality there. All of the stuff that they've done on Disney Plus, it's like 50-50 for me. Some of it works, some of it doesn't work. But for the most part, it hasn't really done anything for the brand of Marvel. It's kind of taken it down a couple of pegs. And so focusing on the movies, I think that was smart on Kevin Feige's part. hey, we're just talking about 4 movies. We're not giving you a giant timeline. This is all we're doing today. And that was smart because coming off of Deadpool and Wolverine, they needed to get that forward momentum going about the movies. They're going to fix the Marvel Cinematic Universe in theaters. They're not going to fix it on Disney Plus. I say the same thing all the time with Star Wars. You're not going to fix Star Wars. You're not going to get Star Wars on the right track by focusing on Disney Plus content. People want to go to the theaters. They want events. These are all event movies or event films. You got to get back into the theaters eventually and start giving us quality there. They did that with Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, the next thing that's coming up in theaters, I'm not too excited about, but if they can get us excited for something beyond that, beyond the Thunderbolts, beyond Fantastic Four, talking about Avengers, okay, now we're talking. Now Marvel has something to work with. But up until this point, I'm telling you, I was almost out. And I think a lot of folks were too.
Well, I'm going to show bits of this video. Oh, sorry, Alan.
Yeah, just real quick. The chat is surmising that TV is being saved for D23. That's when Agatha.
Yeah,
is that the
most
theory?
likely because the fact that there's only 4 movies
going to D23. Alan, I'll introduce.
Oh,
you.
good, because it won't be either you or me.
Yeah, we got rejected from D23.
I don't know why.
It's fine.
I honestly don't know why.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
I do have to say we were when Verbal and Chris, you and I were sitting together, we heard some positive notes from an insider about Wonder Man and the Agatha series.
I know someone who's seen it that says Wonder Man is amazing. It's funny. It's I don't want to, but I'm hearing it's really good. So there you go. I'm going to play some pieces of this. Also, so I can have a bathroom break. It was a long weekend, folks. It was a long weekend. So I'll play pieces of these panels, and we can comment on them here. So, Alan, you know what to do. Real quick here. Yeah. So.
Better at this point. What stands out for you about Thunderbolts ***?
What's my thoughts about it?
What stands out about Thunderbolts?
Not David Harbour. This one, I think. This one right here. I have some suspicious thoughts.
I hope you said boots and not boobs.
All right. Hey, well, with that, Florence, a lot of these characters don't necessarily play well with others. What can you tell us about the team dynamic?
But that's the joy of watching them together, is that they don't play well together. In terms of their dynamics, I mean, we had a real ride because we actually loved working with each other, and we clearly...
This is like an 8-minute video of the Thunderbolts. I'll give you the quick synopsis. They did a funny bit that didn't really pay off, and Rob Delaney from Deadpool was moderating. They must have handed him the questions like before he walked on stage because he just was reading them badly. It was not so. To sum it up, you can watch these. They're actually, if you're a member of the Film Threat channel, I posted all of the videos I took for our members. But they did show footage for all of these. They showed an extended Captain America trailer, and they showed a scene from Thunderbolts. Everyone was underwhelmed. It was very underwhelming. It was Thunderbolts looks like a Disney Plus show. So
is Bucky in Congress? I've heard that they're sidelining Sebastian Stan, that he's going to be in Congress as whatever his code name is now.
He's not. He's in Captain America, but
right,
not
but in
a significant
this one.
role. What are your comments? I'll play the footage without audio just so we can.
I mean, I was never excited for this property, man, which is sad because I love the Thunderbolts as a comic. And the problem I have with this movie is the same thing I had with the Suicide Squad, man, is you have this team of diverse villains diverse, meaning diverse in abilities, powers, that kind of thing, right? All these guys do is shoot guns. That's not the Thunderbolts. That's not the Suicide Squad. So that's the same problem I have with this.
So David Harbour showed up at the panel in costume, and then asked, he was fake embarrassed and explained, no one else.
But he has the same ability as U.S. Agent. So what's again? It's just there's no individuality with these characters, and I haven't seen any footage. I have no interest in watching it.
It literally looked like their Suicide Squad. It's Marvel's Suicide Squad, not as clever, with all the B characters from other movies. I do like David Harbour's character from
in the comics. Isn't this supposed to be Thunderbolt Ross who puts this
yeah,
together?
That's the other piece that they've named it after her soccer team or some bullshit like that.
Yeah,
like, why are we doing this? Like, this isn't even the Thunderbolts, in my opinion.
It's so
not
they
interesting.
thread the needle to like make it just. But they showed an action sequence where the whole concept is someone's trying to kill all of them, so they have to team up. And
you have three characters from the same movie, and don't even get me started on what they did to one of my favorite characters, who's the Taskmaster. I hated that version in Black Widow.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, and remember Ghost? Remember Ghost and her powers?
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she reprises her character. It so makes it TV for me.
Yeah.
She's just not a movie actress. She is a likable TV actor. It just the crowd was underwhelmed. I'm not playing the audio, but just
Taskmaster
underwhelmed.
That wasn't Taskmaster.
Yeah, but that
it wasn't.
That
was not the Taskmaster.
I know.
Nobody asked
wasn't
for this movie. Nobody asked for this movie.
I really think it was. We have to have a certain output, so that's this. So this is our output. So all right, I'm gonna go to one of these other. David Harbour in costume. There he is in costume. See him there being embarrassed. And he's in the crowd. They did a lot of bits. One was actually impressive. I can't play it, which was the Deadpool is coming out, like dancing and singing. And then for the Fantastic Four, well, I'll get to that. So there's David Harbour in costume in the crowd. So there you go.
Yikes.
Yeah. But they introduced the Russo brothers. Well, here's let's get to the Fantastic Four. Or no, actually, let's pivot to let's do that. Sorry, folks. There's so much news here. FF was the most impressive thing. First, they said that they were filming and only the director would be there, and that was a lie. The full cast came out, and they didn't have footage from the movie per se. They had a presentation about the look, and it looks effing cool. It's a 1960s retro future, like the Jetsons or whatever, and it looks so good. And the FF stands for the Future Foundation, headed up by Reed Richards. So that's how they get the sort of the FF moniker, right? And he's a scientist. They show him teaching a class. They show the Thing on the dating game. All you see is a silhouette of the Thing, and you see this girl. I don't know, and it's all very quaint. Like if you watch commercials from the 60s, it's like that tone. Like I don't know what guy I would like, and they show like a silhouette, and you see the Thing, Ben Grimm, with the eyebrows, the Kirby eyebrows. They show them in going to space in the costumes, right? Like in astronaut costumes. It was so good. And then final thing, they show a shot inside the Baxter building, and really quick, Galactus is looking inside the Baxter building. The crowd went nuts. It looked original. It was different. It was a kind of a you know about the script, and Rob, it was like a lookbook, right? But it was
or like a sizzle reel. Yeah.
That was right. It was a sizzle reel showing the look. Reed Richards teaching and them all interacting, but the acting style was like an episode of Bewitched.
Oh, nice.
Or Dick Van Dyke. It was like wacky, but it was just like there was a lot of levity and humor, and it was like they describe it. It was like future optimism. I'll play some of this if you want to see this.
But see, the thing is, like, I don't understand why they don't understand. Like, that's what works, man. Like, for me, I wish they would just let the MCU get weird. Let them get weird, man. Like, I love the first 3 episodes of WandaVision because it was so weird. I liked it too. I loved Werewolf by Night because it was so weird, right? Like, I want to see let them go crazy, man. Like, get weird. Like, they had Sam Raimi and didn't let Sam Raimi be Sam Raimi for Multiverse of Madness.
And there's a title to this movie. It's called The Fantastic Four: First Steps. That's what it's called.
I'm not loving that title, by the way.
I don't like that title.
I'm not loving
that title. But yeah, I mean, the reason that they can't get weird is because they're afraid that most people won't rock with that. Most people won't be on board with all of the weirdness. They try to. That's what they've done with the costumes, which is why Wolverine is finally getting that costume, is because they were afraid to go against what they thought normal people would want. I guess normies. But yeah, I mean, they really need to play more into the comic instead of trying to play it safe. But yeah, I 100% agree with you, Dante. I want them to get as weird as possible with this next, this next phase or whatever it is they're going to call it. Hey, go all in. With the Fantastic Four, I like what I've heard. I haven't seen the footage yet, so if Chris, you're going to play a little bit of that, I'm appreciative.
Do you know how good Moon Knight could have been?
Oh my God, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So disappointing.
Moon Knight could have been so good if they let him get weird.
It's like 7 minutes of him actually as Moon Knight in that whole damn series.
Right.
Yeah.
The footage was so good that when people walked away, the big takeaways were FF looks good and Downey Jr. Like, there was excitement in the room, but we'll get to it. Let me play a little of this with the director who did, if you like WandaVision, same director who's doing Fantastic Four. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
So here we go.
We have not even started filming this yet. It starts filming Tuesday in the UK. Pedro is there and sent a picture with all of them. You saw that online. But our director was willing to fly all through the night to be here with you, ladies and gentlemen. Our director, Matt Shackman. Still standing. Still awake. I'm still awake. I'm still standing.
Welcome, Matt. Hey, Matt, the Fantastic Four have some of the most iconic powers in Marvel history, from Reed's stretchy limbs to Johnny's fire abilities. How do you want to bring those powers to life?
God, you are right, Chris.
I love the Fantastic Four. I love their power set, and it's one of the things we've worked the hardest on, because we want to be true to the comics, but we also want to be true to life. We want to root it in physics and anatomy and all those things that can make it feel incredibly real. So we've done tons of tests and concept art and storyboarding and VFX tests and research. We've talked to scientists, we've talked to animal experts, we've talked to everybody. We've gone out into the desert to find the best rock to make the thing from, right? We've done everything we can to make it amazing.
Right on. And you journeyed through the decades with WandaVision, and we know that Fantastic Four...
WandaVision, Matt directed every episode.
We know that Fantastic Four is set in a version of 1960s New York. Were there any 60s details you wanted to make sure to include?
I mean, the same approach to the powers. We want to do our research. We want to be authentic. We want to bring it to life in a very real way. But at the same time, we also are not doing just the 60s, right? We're doing a retro future 60s. So a lot of it was about finding inspiration from the futurists of that time, especially Sid Mead, and using that as sort of inspiration to build a whole new world that is part of the New York that you know from the 60s and something you've never seen before. But more than just the visual aesthetics, the 60s to me is all about optimism. It's about looking to the stars, about dreaming, about traveling into space. It's about how with the right heart and the right mind, you can do anything, which is what the Fantastic Four is all about. And so it's more about capturing the spirit and the tone which is not a bad segue because I put something together for you guys. We haven't started shooting yet, but we put together a little bit of pre-shoot stuff, some animatics. We've kind of cobbled together something to give you a sense of what this movie will be about. And so, do you guys want to see it? Let's do it.
And that's where I had to cut it off there. So sorry about that. I've got the footage of the cast we can show. But what do you guys think about that? I'll say that's the thing I walked out being really pumped about, because I feel like in my lifetime I just want one good Fantastic Four movie that captures the comic.
But Pedro,
Well, I felt like there was no other way to do it. It had to be a period piece. It had to be
not
a period
made for
piece.
modern
Like,
audiences.
it wouldn't have worked any other way.
Yeah, it also feels a little bittersweet because I'm reminded of X-Men First Class, which was a period piece film, and there was a lot of fun to that film. And
I
then
love that
unfortunately they
movie.
skipped so many decades ahead to try and catch up to current day that it just lost the luster to it. With this, I'm like, oh, Fantastic Four in the early 60s, you got the retro future, you got the hopefulness. It's before the hippie movement really took over and made the world crazy. I wish we got the rest of the Marvel universe in that time period as well. I wish we got, a 60s looking Iron Man, 60s Captain America, fresh out of the ice after only 20 years of being away instead of 80. All those types of things, I think would have worked well, and not only like allowed for the kookiness that Marvel could have leaned into for that period, but also it would be so refreshing compared to the contemporary stuff we have now. It'd be pro culture and counterculture at the same time.
So is this how we see Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, Fantastic Four first?
We will get to that. Let
That's
me
where it
show
gets
you
confusing.
I have the video of the cast coming out. Do you want to see it?
Sure.
Oh, wait, the chat. Do you want to see it? Hey, chat, we will get to your super chats at the end of the show. I promise you. If you want to see the FF cast, I can play that video right now. I'm gonna what does the chat say? The chat is always right. The chat
got a
is
lot of
always,
yeses on my end.
okay, a lot of yeses. All right, we're gonna do it. All right,
Also, I could watch Vanessa Kirby in anything.
Yeah, but they all walk out. So here this.
Yep.
So basically, Kevin Feige lied, and the cast was there, and here they are.
Would be here with us right now, but is hosting a NASA panel somewhere else on the convention floor, for real, which I thought was apropos. What are you holding there, Rob?
Oh, I have got a little gift that everybody here is going to get. It's a Fantastic Four fan and map, and you're all going to get one.
Pretty cool surprise. And the other surprise is that the cast is all here. Ladies and gentlemen, Evan Moss Bacharach, Ben Grimm. There he is. Your Johnny Storm. Joseph Quinn. Sue Storm, Vanessa Kirby.
Amazing.
And Mr. Fantastic.
He's the only one who dressed
Pedro
up.
Pascal.
This is going to be the biggest hurdle for me. He's overplayed and he's been beta male.
I totally agree with that.
Completely agree with that. Plus, I think he's a himbo, and it's hard for me to see him as a really smart Mr. Fantastic.
Actually, Pedro's the only one I have a problem with.
Yeah.
I would have preferred Anson Mount.
Weak link on this whole thing.
Who?
Anson Mount would have been better.
100%. Yeah, he's wasted as a Black Bolt.
I got a question for you. What was your reaction the first time you saw yourself in a super suit?
I don't know. I feel like it was just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and I find myself defending the actor playing Johnny Storm.
Yeah, you got to give me a few more hours.
All right, we'll come back with some more questions. Hey, Pedro, you've had a role in some pretty impressive nerd franchises. What feels different about joining the MCU?
New family. Nobody knows that Matt and I have known each other for like 25 years. And we started with the same talent manager, actually, and he almost became my roommate in 1999, but he came and he saw the place and was like, I'm good. So that's different.
That's a true story, yep. I love that. Hey, Vanessa and Joseph, you two play siblings. Did you do any brother-sister bonding to prepare?
Well, we're both the only Brits in the cast, aren't we, pretty much?
That's the truth.
So we're going to get down the pub and make everyone come with us, because we're filming in London, aren't we? We're the Londoners, so we've got to show everyone a good time.
Seems only right, yes.
Hey, Evan, we're here in Hall H with some MCU veterans. Did you get any advice from fellow Marvel actors?
He has to play the brother of the hottest chick.
Well, that's what people's complaints were, that he's not attractive enough to be Johnny.
I did, you know what, actually, I did, this is going to be a boring, fairly earnest...
Well, yeah, if he's standing next to her,
nice,
I mean...
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Text message from Mark Ruffalo, because, you know, it's just to sort of demystify the process of motion capture.
I like Michael Chiklis.
Because it's something I've never really done before.
Chiklis was good, man.
This very long, generous text about how, you know, just simplifying it and taking away kind of I was a bit scared of the technology and just sort of saying, you know, it's just like, you know, making scenes like, you know, normal scene work.
Right on.
So that was really nice.
That's very nice. Let's see here. Hey, Joseph, with the 60-plus years legacy of this title, and this being Marvel Studios' first venture with these characters, what's one thing you hope to bring out from your character that fans could be excited for?
Evan? What am I going to bring to it? I think we're all collectively going to bring an essence that is a family, rather than thinking about what...
You know what? The Fox Reed Richards wasn't bad either, though.
It's a team sport.
Can we just say the Fox was a good cast?
Well, except for Jessica Alba.
Oh, you didn't like Jessica.
Not as Invisible
That's
Woman.
what it is.
Got a question for Vanessa. After a week of rehearsals and the pre-shoot, what new things have you learned about your family?
Individually or together? Yeah, I guess, you know what, I honestly don't think I've laughed so much in a rehearsal period before. We laugh so much, and it's so beautiful to be at work, and you know, we're all really so dedicated to try and make it the best we can, and we feel so kind of, you know, we want to do it justice, and it's amazing reading the comics from the 60s and all the way up and seeing this family that has traveled with so many people in life, and feel so honored to be a part of it, and but to laugh through it, which I hope we can capture in the movie, because when you read the comics, it's about family. So I think we can all say we've laughed a lot. We've cried with laughter many days, so hopefully
She almost looks like Kirby's version of Sue Storm.
Perfect, especially since she got a new stylist, because her makeup's been so on point the last few months. Beforehand, she had a weird thing going on with her eyes.
They literally have to fly back, but the good thing about that is they have their own fantastic car.
Just let Sue be
which will
British
take them
in
back
this
to
one.
the UK, hopefully, very, very quickly.
Wait till you see this.
Silver Surfer? Surf her.
Happy in the back.
Right corner.
It's got like drones on the inside of it.
All right, guys, they are literally going back right now, back to London to start shooting the Fantastic Four. The entire cast, thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks so much. This is the best. Go catch a ride. Thank you. Thank you.
Good shooting there, Chris.
Yes, of course. Rob Delaney, everybody. He lives in London. He's going to hitch a ride. Pam as always. Thanks, man. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Those are our 3 films for 2025. And what's exciting is that the Fantastic Four cast and many other members you've seen today will also be appearing in the 2 Avengers films that we're making. Yes, yes. Do you want to hear a little bit about the Avenger films?
All right, it was impressive that you guys did not see the footage. It looks so different, so original.
Oh no, I saw it. It looks really good.
Where'd you see it?
Someone leaked it.
Yeah, it was leaked on Reddit and then taken down. I had some friends DM me some photos that they took while they were at Comic-Con. And some of the stills look great.
Yeah.
It was really original, different. Like
He's not a smoke monster now.
Yeah,
no. It's Galactus, man.
He will be 40 feet tall, looking in the Baxter Building. Or
I saw someone complain. He's like, he's too small. I was like, he's not a smoke monster now. Like, can we just be grateful we're getting? Holy hell!
I think is I don't know. Pedro, I still can't get him. I mean, he might pull it off. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I've liked him in a lot of things. I just would rather see an unknown or an actor I don't know as well. You know,
there's just so many better choices than Pedro, man. I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand.
I mean, he's overexposed at this point. He's in everything. That's the big problem.
He's overexposed.
Yeah, he's got a great management team that's getting him lots of work. But I think because he's kind of being phased out of the Star Wars side of things, and Disney still likes him, they're keeping him on in some capacity. And I think Marvel is that capacity.
Oh yeah, by the way, I heard they did shooting on Grogu and Mando and Grogu, whatever that movie is. And because they had to shoot around Pedro, so they shot his scenes for the movie, but they haven't started shooting the movie because Pedro's busy.
He's gonna die, right? And then Katie Sackhoff will take over as the Mandalorian for any further seasons. Or
I mean, it's on brand, right?
Or the movie that Dave Filoni is gonna wrap everything up with. Yeah,
I think he's done too much genre stuff. It would have been nice to bring like a B or A-list actor who hasn't done a superhero movie.
I liked Krasinski.
Yeah. Well, he's too goofy looking. We saw him already.
How dare you body shame him?
I don't think he wanted to do it.
He seems smart, at least. I believe
he wanted to do it.
You don't think he wanted to? He just did it because it was fan casting.
Don't want to do superhero stuff. So,
sorry, what were you saying, Alan? You don't think he wants to do it?
I didn't think he wanted. You got to get actors who actually want to be in these things. I don't think John Krasinski wanted to do it. He did the one cameo, and that was it.
Yeah. I wish he didn't die so disrespectfully.
Well, yeah, that too.
Let's get to the big news, the biggest news out of that presentation, which was only an announcement. And first of all, I heard this a month ago, and you'll see, I'll show the video of it. I was at the same view, sort of off to the side. There were an army of Dr. Dooms, people dressed as Dr. Doom that were making to the stage. There was one guy dressed as Dr. Doom that had a brighter green outfit on. I could tell by the way he was walking, it was RDJ. I pointed out to Gary. I said, look at that guy. It's RDJ.
Platform shoes? Was he wearing
No, he's like 5'7", but
because a lot of times he wears those high heels. I
met him years ago. He's really nice. Mm-hmm. I met him when I was doing the junket for G4. He had Robert Downey Jr. had just been cast as Tony Stark. He was on the junket for Waking Life, a Richard Linklater movie. And I met him. I said, hey, congratulations. Great job on getting cast. You're perfect for this. All he said was, I'm just glad to be in a movie my kids can see. Right? Mm-hmm. So they hadn't even started. It was only announced. So here is the announcement. We'll talk about it on the other side. But here it is in the room. Well, it's a little long here. I'll scrub to the
end. You guys show the video, Chris.
Oh,
Marvel is not going to.
Oh, sorry about that, Alan. Thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Here we go. So they announced Secret Wars, and Joe and the Russo brothers are back. But then things changed to this.
Listen, if we're gonna bring Victor Von Doom to the screen, and he is one of the more complex characters in all of comics, right, Kevin? I mean, this is potentially one of the more entertaining characters in all of fiction. If we're going to do this, if we're going to bring him to movie theaters worldwide, then I think we're going to need the greatest actor in the world to play that character. Wow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
New mask. Same task. What I tell you, I like playing complicated characters.
I hate this with every fiber of my being.
It was going to be this or Iron Man, and it's probably both at this point. He was always going to come back.
I hate this so much.
We knew this was a signal that they had nothing left. Gary has said that forever.
New mask, same task, and the task for all of us, including everybody in this room together, is for us to help create the greatest.
This reeks of a Hail Mary.
Oh, it's a stunt.
So let's get to it. Bring your imagination, your love,
And it might be a stunt for another stunt, too.
See you in 2 years with Doomsday.
I hate this so much.
Okay,
so
wait.
much.
Let's okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. We'll get everyone's opinion. Is this just another actor? Is he just playing that character? You know, they do that sometimes.
That's what I thought when I was told this at the meetup, not knowing anything.
Well, no, I'm just saying, is he just, you know, like that happens, you know, in, you know, people play multiple, like Chris Evans and with,
two different studios, two different franchises.
But I'm just saying, or is he a Tony Stark variant? The words, different mask, same task. What was the big conflict with Iron Man? Was once he learned in the first Avengers, there was a cosmic world. In Avengers Age of Ultron, he created Ultron to put a wall, build a wall, so to speak, around Earth.
A suit of armor.
A suit of armor around Earth. Is Doctor Doom the dark, like, version of Tony Stark? A character in an iron suit, but with accomplishing the same task, but maybe went a little dark.
I'll tell you why I hate this so much, because since phase one or two, I would say two maybe, we have all been waiting for Doctor Doom to come to the MCU, right? And instead of him being his own established character, he's a variant of Tony Stark.
We don't know that.
Well, they said he was going to be Victor Von Doom. They said that on stage. He said on stage.
So then the problem with that,
Von Doom.
So the problem with that though is that Robert Downey Jr. is iconic as Iron Man. He is Iron Man. He said it himself, right? I am Iron Man. He is, right? He died in the best way possible in Endgame, right? Died a hero, saving not just the Earth, but the universe, right?
Yep.
And now you're going to bring him back as this?
Well, wait. So the first three phases, Downey Jr. as Tony Stark saves the Marvel universe. In the next three phases, or the next phase, he will destroy the Marvel universe. My prediction.
Or it resets. This is just up to Secret Wars. It resets.
I think they are leading up to a soft reboot. Well, you will get after, Doomsday and all that. They will do a soft reboot with a new Cap, a new Tony Stark, a new Hulk, or a new Bruce Banner, a new Thor,
X-Men, everyone. Yeah,
I think so, but it'll be in 2030. I'm saying it now.
Do we get Do we get Latveria? Do we get Doom is Doom, man? Like Iron Man is Iron Man, Doom is Doom. I want Doom. I want all of Doom. Like everything that comes with Doom.
But
And I don't think we're not going to get that.
How do you know?
I don't know what we're going to get, unfortunately. And I actually wrote about this on my Patreon yesterday. And I think that what they're doing is you don't hire someone like Robert Downey Jr. and put him into a character where his face is hidden 99% of the time.
That's exactly.
So
that's my problem.
I think that they're calling back to. I mean, some people have mentioned the infamous Iron Man comic book series from 2016 that they're calling back to. I think they're taking a bit from that, but I think they're going back a little bit further to an issue of What If called Demon in an Armor. And this was written and came out after Disney purchased Marvel. And what it is it's a story where Victor Von Doom essentially pulls a Freaky Friday on Tony Stark and they swap bodies. And that would make sense because that would lead into what Marvel has done as a studio recently. Is they pluck over the last 30 years. They don't really go back to the 60s. The Fantastic Four thing is a fluke. All the other stories that they're focusing on, all the type of gimmicks that they're doing are far more recent in Marvel Comics pantheon than anything they've ever done before. And I suspect that the reason they got Downey Jr. back is that they're going to have some sort of gimmick where, because I'll pose this question. What happened to Tony Stark's body at the end of Endgame? We never see it. His memorial is just that proof Tony Stark has a heart thing floating on the water. So his body has no resolution to that. And I think something of that nature is going to factor into this Doom where Victor Von Doom in Latveria has probably taken that body. It wasn't really dead. He's healed it back up. He's put his mind into Tony Stark's body. Tony Stark is stuck in Victor Von Doom's. And then he makes some triumphant return publicly to the MCU as basically Robert Downey Jr. playing Victor Von Doom in Tony Stark's body. As convoluted as that is, it feels like it's something that Marvel would do because you don't invest in someone like Robert Downey Jr., who his quote has gone down since he's left the MCU. So he is actually coming back to this film at a cheaper rate than what he left. That is a fact. In fact, Chris Evans, I only think got $1 million for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Or he'll end up being a Skrull.
Couple
Or
things.
he'll end up being a Skrull, yeah.
I have a limited edition Jack Kirby art book, and Jack Kirby did not agree with Stan Lee about Dr. Doom. He felt, Stan Lee was like, oh, he's disfigured. That's why he wears the armor. No. Jack Kirby was like, no, he has one tiny scar. He's a good-looking man
and
with
the vanity,
one tiny scar, but he's so vain, he doesn't want his face seen. Badger, you've got this art. Explain this.
That's what Script was talking about. It's what the common theory is right now, that they're going this route, that this is all just a misdirection, that they couldn't just announce what they're actually doing. You had to do something greater. So it's him coming back. But like Script said, this is all leading to something actually bigger, and the real, whoever that will end up being, Dr. Doom, that this is just an intermediary thing.
I think this is a duck blind to another actor that you've already got signed to do the role. And when that gets and they're going to keep a lid on it as long as they can until it gets revealed, because again, a Dr. Doom, because he's so vain and he never takes off his mask, you've basically relegated Downey Jr. to being a voiceover role if he's going to be the Dr. Doom. But I don't think they're doing that, and I don't think that's why they did this, because my experience, and maybe Robert, you can attest to this as well, my experience with casting directors and directors when they come to getting a face for their film is that they want the face. Mm-hmm. And when you have a character, especially like, do you really think Marvel audience would accept Dr. Doom played by Robert Downey Jr. behind the mask all the time, excluding the flashbacks to prior to his deformation? Like, no, they're not going to do that. Marvel would never commit to saying, okay, yeah, we're going to do Dr. Doom, but we're always going to see his face. Well, that the whole gimmick of Doom is the mask he wears and his tyranny that he inflicts upon the Fantastic Four and the rest of the world. That's a fun role for Robert Downey Jr. And that's one of the things I mentioned just earlier. He did an interview with Joe Rogan where he says the only way he's coming back to play Tony Stark Iron Man is if he gets to do something with the role he's never done before. Well, he's never played someone that's possessed his body as Iron Man before.
I don't know about you guys, man, but I want the Cursed Richards, right? Like I want Victor Von Doom. I don't like anything about this.
Rob, what do you think?
Well, the first I heard of this was last November.
Oh, wow.
And it was told to me by, I've kept this in confidence. I haven't talked about it, but this has been in the planning stages for a while. And all I can say is that there is a plan, and I think it's a good one.
My understanding,
but that's all I can say. And to be honest, it was told to me as something that was in the works, but not necessarily a done deal yet. So I kind of been sitting on this for a long time, and I don't mean to say that to be cheeky or anything. I'm just saying that I was, here's the thing. There are people that I know that work in the industry that sometimes they forget who they're talking to. Because I have a really big mouth, and this conversation was, they were like, "Oh my God, you can't say anything about this," because then it would have outed the person who told me.
Yeah.
And I haven't said anything, but I think they have a really interesting approach to what they're doing here.
The problem is that the MCU has lost a lot of goodwill, and for them to throw this gimmick out there for the people who are already skeptical anyway, it just solidifies Deadpool and Wolverine was a fluke. They're going back to being horrible again, right? Like
it
that's
reeks of desperation. That's what
it is. It reeks of desperation. It's like, you have to go back to Robert Downey Jr. because
Yeah.
But the thing is, let's just say, are you willing to say that casting Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom is going to fail this whole thing? I mean, I think more people are more excited about this than
no. See, you say excited, right? And I had to correct somebody about this yesterday. Everybody in Hall H is always excited because most of these people are from like the Midwest somewhere who flew in for Comic-Con, so they're excited to see a celebrity. So they're going to yell and clap like seals no matter who's up.
But I don't think this is going to this one move. I don't think is going to to destroy all the plans going forward. I mean, honestly, when I heard about this a couple hours before it happened, and I was actually kind of excited.
But you have to understand, the MCU burned a lot of goodwill.
Hold on. The idea that Tony Stark is going to turn evil, is going to be the Doctor Doom, was like, this is interesting. It has story ideas, and then to see it lead into Secret Wars, which could possibly collapse everything. To me, let's assume that Secret Wars does collapse everything. What that does is it allows you a reset, and it allows you also to finally introduce the X-Men and say, okay, let's pivot to the X-Men, grow that, and now bring everyone in together afterwards in some kind of a reset.
So we get Doom for those two movies, right?
3 movies.
Or 3.
3 movies, okay.
Or 2.5 movies. Let's put it
right.
So you're using the greatest Marvel villain of all time as a gimmick.
Yeah, because they've ruined Marvel.
Universe.
They've ruined Marvel over the last 5 years. This is how they have to get out of it.
But by the way, I am told that Robert Downey Jr. himself pitched this idea to Marvel. It was his idea to come back, how he would come back.
He likes voices.
Rob, correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know.
That told me everything I need to know.
I thought he was playing Victor Von Doom.
That tells me everything I need to know.
I thought we'd never see his
That's
face.
That's what I heard. I'm hearing things. So, but I don't know. I'm saying I like this idea. I'm excited. 2 things I saw was excited about Fantastic Four and this, but 2 more topics left before we get to Super Chat.
And by the way, let me just say, Robert Downey Jr., he's in my top 5 of favorite actors. I love RDJ. In any other circumstance, I'd be like, okay, maybe, but given the track record of the MCU, I don't know, man.
So you think they're going to Star Wars the MCU with this?
All right. We got 2 more topics to tackle today. And this next one is going to be a lot of speculation. One thing we know about Marvel, they don't recast black men. Seriously,
once
they did it once. Yeah, I was about to say one time.
Oh, that's right, Terrence
Brody. Yes.
My biggest complaint about Black Panther, recast that character. So beloved. Was so
Chadwick's
like
brother
out of the
wanted
gate.
them to.
And they, because of Chadwick Boseman, very tragic. Why did they kill off such a great character? Awful.
So in that situation, I can understand what you're saying. It's a little different because he died and he was really beloved, and his best friend is the one who made the movie. I agree. They messed up. They should have recast T'Challa. They should have redone that. We should not have lost the Black Panther.
But
Jonathan so important for character.
Jonathan Majors, all of his like legal, like we're not going to discuss that. Why did they not just recast?
Right.
Are there no great black actors in Hollywood?
Oh, there are tons.
I know, that's what I mean. It's ridiculous. So So are they going to erase the Kang thing? Does Dr. Doom
I don't think
come in
Kang
and,
was
like,
working, honestly. I don't think Kang was really working for the MCU.
No one's
and it
clamoring
was
to get Kang back.
Yeah,
Who's
it was
asking what
like,
happened
all right,
after the
look,
last one?
good reason
No
to let
one's
him out.
clamoring to resolve the Kang story.
Dude, Kang lost to Ant-Man.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
He lost to Ant-Man.
He lost to everyone he was introduced to. That was the point. You introduced him, and he got beat by everyone. It's like, so why is he?
No, but hear me out. The worst Kang that got exiled, the worst of the worst Kangs, got beat by Ant-Man.
Yeah, the most evil of them all, the one that could
Right.
actually do something of damage, got killed by Ant-Man, and that was actually a reshoot ordered by Bob Iger because the original ending had Ant-Man and the Wasp trapped in the quantum realm, and Kang released into the main reality. But they changed that last minute.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
That's like the end of Ahsoka.
And his kingdom destroyed by ants.
Yep.
That's
His
the end of
kingdom was
Ahsoka.
destroyed
So they let
by
Bob
ants.
Iger rewrite that? That would have been interesting.
I learned from two very reliable sources that the movie was actually in the canon, actually really good until Bob Iger came in November, saw it, and said, this is not the way we like Marvel to be. So they completely changed to like the last 2 acts of the movie and rushed it to get what we have. And they had a plan with Kang. I think right now what they're doing is they're kind of Loki and Kang. And by that, I mean, where Loki is the setup to build into Thanos, I think what they're going to try and do now is make Kang the setup to build into Doom or Galactus or something of that nature.
Well, there are so many loose ends. If you tracked all the loose ends from Phase 4, from the Disney Plus shows, how are they going to resolve all those? I want to see if Rob is smiling right now. He knows
Rob?
don't.
Is what we're saying correct, Rob?
I know it's your lights are green now, Rob.
I think they know, as we've talked about, they have a lot of catching up and rejiggering to do to make sure that they, I mean, obviously everybody wants them to make the kind of money. Their shareholders want them to make the kind of money. And unfortunately, what I think is unfortunate is obviously Brave New World is a Frankenstein of a movie.
Yeah.
You know, and they've reshot it. Basically, they've reshot that movie 3 times. And, you know, we heard over the weekend that it's okay, but it's superficial and it doesn't have the gravitas that, say, Winter Soldier had, which is what they were going for. So I don't even, and then you've got Thunderbolts, which is another, as we talked about, team film. I just don't think the Marvel Universe has Deadpool and Wolverine's a one-off. I don't think they have the kind of momentum they need to get them back where they were. Even these Avengers movies. Who's in the Avengers? Who are
the
they?
Avengers? Right.
Yeah.
Is it you got to figure it's Captain America, right? I guess.
But he's not. Captain America is not a super soldier,
right?
And I like Anthony Mackie a great deal as a performer, but he's not exactly able to take on cosmic threats.
Hulk is like the only OG, right? Hulk and
Thor,
maybe
was
Vision,
Thor
depending
around, I guess.
Thor, yeah.
And then you got
and we literally have a guy with no super serum fighting the Red Hulk.
Yeah, his superpower is his
stupid is
humanity.
that?
Dante, did you hear him say that? His superpower is his humanity
against the Hulk.
I mean,
He's
that's
real
the
nice
crazy
to him.
odds, but it's like you're gonna have to really stretch the imagination to make that work. Like he's never gonna be able to do a physical interaction with the Hulk. It's all distance, attacks and whatnot, because he will die if he's within arm's reach of the Hulk.
No, but they're saying that the shield can absorb the Hulk's punches, even if you have no super serum whatsoever.
Well, the shield can do that, but the person holding the shield can't. I mean, that's the problem. It's like you hold the shield and it hits it, and even though it's vibranium and it stops the stuff,
That's why this movie's going to fail, man.
Yeah, but when you talk about the Avengers, there's one person you've not mentioned yet, and that's Shang-Chi. And
racist. I'm sorry,
I think
Alan.
he will be.
Alan, our bad, Alan. Alan feeling a
Yellow
little
power.
slighted
Come
over
on.
here.
Well,
Yellow Man power. Let's do it.
Well, if you want to hear what I heard about Captain America, is I talked to someone who saw both cuts, right? The bad one and the slightly better one. He said that the action and story is a little better, but it's just a straight up action movie. There's no internal story for Sam Wilson, no emotional
no arc,
arc at all for him at all, which is that's what makes these movies good. So that's what's missing, apparently.
Didn't we see that in the TV show where he went from not wanting to be Captain America to by the end of that TV show embracing it and saying, you need to do better? Like he's already had that arc.
Dude, they literally have a super soldier in the film, Isaiah Washington, right? They have a super soldier, and they have Sam fighting the Hulk.
Well, because Isaiah.
Although I do hear that what's his name, Tim Blake Nelson is fantastic as the leader.
Yeah.
I heard that he's great, but look, I think it's a year from now when FF comes out, July. I think that's 3 Marvel movies next year. February, Captain America. You've got May for Thunderbolts, July for Fantastic Four. I think FF will be pushed back to November.
Wait, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are that close together?
Yes.
Yeah. And Fantastic Four currently has a slate to compete with Superman, James Gunn's Superman.
Yeah.
No sense.
Yeah, I think
sense. I think that FF will be pushed back. I do believe that. So we got 1 movie this year, 3 next year. But seriously, to my question, how do you resolve or wrap up the Kang thing? Although I like your idea.
Well, here's the one thing. So they have recast one black actor, and that was Terrence Howard. So I think if you want to have something meta and fun, bring Terrence Howard in as Kang.
That'd be great.
And just kind of resolve him out there. He's already going on the circuit talking about strange math that doesn't actually math. So
you know what? Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
Have some fun with
like
that. Make it a little meta and have it segue into whatever the big bad is going to be, whether it's going to be Galactus or if it's going to be Doom. It looks like it's going to be Doom because they've already got Avengers Doomsday. So that seems to be their target. Like that's the best way I can really kind of reconcile this, just because I don't know what their plan is. The only thing I've heard, and maybe some of you guys have heard this as well, is that when Disney was over at the Cannes and they did the film market, they weren't pushing as many titles for pre-sales this year as they were previous years. And that might lean into with why we're only getting, 4 Marvel movies over the next 2 years that we know of for sure, and nothing really big on that later on. No huge phase slate or anything of that nature. I think
five, the 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah, the 2 Avengers movies, Thunderbolts, Captain America, and Fantastic Four. So that's basically the end of this phase, I would assume. So because they're not announcing anything further ahead, they're using this basically as their testing phase, pun intended. Like, this is it. This is where they're going to experiment. Like, we already know the 2 failures, Thunderbolts and Captain America. And then the other 3 are up in the air. And that will give us the direction of where they're going to be headed soon. As it comes for Kang, I would use Kang as a setup. Maybe I would probably tether to Doom has actually captured Kang, used the multiverse technology and the time traveling technology in order to do what he wants to do. Maybe that has a ripple effect, which is how the Fantastic Four get to modern day. I mean, I'm just spitballing here.
You could never mention him again, and no one would say a goddamn thing.
Well,
I think what they're going to do is similar to what it's similar to how they did the Eternals. Like, the Eternals are just gone. Like, what happened to the Eternals? Oh, we got the giant and that's adamantium. Done. We're finished with the Eternals. We're moving on. I think that's basically how they're going to treat Kang.
There'll be cameos at best. Yeah.
The way you deal with it is Kang who?
Kang went back to his home planet.
It's just
Kang is a descendant of Reed Richards.
1,000 people, 1 million people watched Loki season 1, of which he appeared in the last episode.
But that's a point script, Doctor.
Ant-Man.
He's a descendant.
Quantumania. No one saw that one,
right?
So he just disappears.
Yeah.
Just
deal with it after Secret Wars.
Who's asking for resolution of the Kang story?
No one.
Nobody. Technically, got it. Season 2.
Interesting is when they introduced Thanos. I mean, Infinity War is Thanos' movie.
Yep.
You get his origins, his motivations. You get to know him. He doesn't just indiscriminately kill. If he doesn't have to kill, he just doesn't. And he has an honor. Thanos is such a great character. I suspect they will do something with Robert Downey Jr. with his Dr. Doom. You will get insight into Doom, his head, and it will be very different than what we're thinking. Also, I heard on FF that Paul Walter Hauser plays Mole Man. There are other characters from the Fantastic Four universe, a lot of them minor characters that are going to be in it. The main villain is Galactus. He is the main bad, in the FF movie.
Please tell me we're getting the Yancey Street Gang.
Yes, I hope the Yancey Street Gang.
Well, I see this also as
Agatha
a
Harkness.
direction away from the fact that they've gender swapped the Silver Surfer because she's
that is the one thing the director pushed back on. They made him do it. It's not Norrad. It's
it's
Do we know if
Norrad.
it's permanent, or is it just for when they're in their universe?
I'm told that's the one thing.
With Kang, remember, I know no one watched it. Loki is still in charge of the TVA that everyone hates, but that means he's in charge of what the sacred timeline is. So we could just say that Loki is pruning anything that has Kang in it. That's the bullshit I would say.
I do think they have to resolve it because they set it up. They have to just put a button on it, even if it's, you don't think so?
I mean, they don't have to, but the thing, this is Marvel. They're going to let it hang there until they come up with an idea where they can actually have it pay off. Because right now they've had the Eternals with that Celestial calcified in the middle of the ocean for 3 years now. Now they realize, now we're going to make it adamantium. So that means Cersei has the ability to transmute into things into adamantium, the strongest substance ever to exist.
Script, have you heard this? That Kang, I thought they were going to turn Kang into, like, the Beyonder was ultimately going to be a Kang variant, and that's how they were going to explain it. And that's Secret Wars too. Yeah, it's all horrible. That's
Wait. So are they also going to explain are they going to explain the fact that this Celestial, as huge as it is, right, almost the size of a planet itself, if that's adamantium, what does that mean then? Adamantium is not special. Like everyone in the world is going to have adamantium because that's how big that thing is. And if it's made as a derivative of vibranium,
you got to get it.
In the scene I saw from Captain America, they showed Harrison Ford as the president saying they found it, they've mined it, and they have it, and a bunch of nations are after it.
Just like vibranium.
So there's a limited amount then. It's not just that whole Celestial is made out of adamantium.
Yeah.
It's weird though doing Galactus in the first FF movie. You think they'd save it to but
I don't think I think they're mitigating their risk at this point. They're like, we have to do something big for Fantastic Four to work because Fantastic Four has technically failed like 3 times.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because Fantastic Four, it's not a superhero book. It's actually more of a sci-fi soap opera.
Yes.
Because they're not really there to go out hunting and fighting supervillains. They're doing their own thing, and then supervillains are coming after them. So they're more reactionary, and that's a little bit trickier to do for a feature film for that story. It works well in comics and in novels, and to a lesser extent cartoons, because our cartoon series have actually been horrible as well. But but yeah, like figuring out the trick to Fantastic Four, like Brad Bird did it with The Incredibles. He figured it out. He's like, let's just make it a little bit of a spy movie at the same time. And here it looks like they're doing a space race gimmick, which I think leans into the authenticity of what Fantastic Four started out at with the origin of their powers. So hopefully they lean more into that, and it's more like a kooky science 60s, gimmick in that regard.
It's weird to change this. Everyone's pointing out adamantium comes from vibranium, and I remember reading that they make adamantium from vibranium in the comics. It's weird to separate them.
And that must be a recent thing because I not remember having that be the case.
And just kind of piggyback on what you said, Script. For me, the perfect Fantastic Four movie would be Lost in Space. That's how you do Fantastic Four. They're lost in space.
The negative zone.
Or the negative zone. I mean, same thing, same premise.
Our final topic before we go to supers is this. Marvel is back. Wait, I gotta correct that. Hang on a sec. I have to correct it. Just a moment.
Question marks.
Adding a question mark and want us to answer.
Don't forget the ampersand, by the way.
Marvel is back. Marvel is back. Marvel is back.
I would say slightly back.
If of all the movies coming out, we always say, will this movie save Marvel? The Fantastic Four is the movie that has to save Marvel.
If that doesn't land, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
they're in trouble.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
I would say the interest for Marvel is back because Deadpool and Wolverine, obviously, we have a crowd-pleasing movie in theaters that has the Marvel Studios logo on it, have Marvel characters in it. Everybody's excited about that. But I would also say the news coming out of Comic-Con, it's 50-50. Some people are really excited about Dr. Doom or RDJ Dr. Doom. Some people aren't. The Fantastic Four looks like so far folks are excited about that. I'm not so sure about the title, First Steps. I don't know about that, but nevertheless, it's just a title, not a movie. If the movie works, then yeah, you could say Marvel is back if Fantastic Four works. But that's where you got to get something right in Marvel MCU proper. You know, Deadpool and Wolverine is kind of this thing on the outside. You got to get it right within the actual, you know, the universe. Agatha doesn't look like it's going to be something a lot of people are going to rock with. You know,
I heard it's good though.
It could be great. It could be great. I think a lot of people would, you know, say, "Hey, this thing is good. This thing is good." But are people actually going to watch it?
Right.
Are people going to get invested into the story?
Do you honestly think Agatha will make lesbian witches okay again? Yes, 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 yes.
Well, Alan agrees.
You know, I think the Marvel the problem with the MCU is it has no focus anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was interesting was you had these trilogies that were within this larger overarching Infinity War saga story. Now, and the separate trilogies had interesting entries. I mean, look, a lot of people don't like Iron Man 3 as much as I do, but I still liked Tony Stark's journey through the 3 Iron Man movies. I thought that was interesting. And when you watch all 3 of them, especially when you go back and watch all 3 of them, they've gotten better, you know, with age, knowing where they're going to go. And, you know, all the first 3 Thor movies, I know Dark World was not what everybody wanted, but Ragnarok was pretty satisfying, and having Ragnarok lead right into Infinity War was really, really good. And so now I feel like these Marvel movies, okay, Black Widow we knew was a one-off. Shang-Chi went nowhere. The Eternals went nowhere, leaving all these gaping questions like, okay, you've got a celestial cracking out of the world, and Arshem the Judge, bigger than the earth, is seen by everybody after half of humanity was snapped away for 5 years. They've never dealt with the fact that the earth should be in a shambles. It's a mess. Like, what does it do to the religious beliefs of people when they know that there's cosmic beings that can snap them out of existence for 5 years and bring them back? And then everybody just goes back to high school, apparently. Just like
Christians try to baptize them.
Yeah.
And
you know what, Rob?
it's so there's no. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say this. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you bring up a very interesting point. We have all of these like spider threads going out there in regards to the MCU, and I've on my channel and on others' channels, I'm sure you guys have heard this. People are saying we're kind of tired of the interconnectivity of the MCU. People are tired of everything being so connected because it feels like you got to do homework. You got to watch all of these various series and everything. And I think Marvel has got a major issue to solve with that too. Do they go in hey, we're just setting up movies and then some of these movies will connect, some won't? Or do they try to make everything connect to one another? I know they've kind of steered away from that with some of the MCU television series. Like they're saying like Echo and Daredevil, that's just going to be for, the television, and you can just watch that and enjoy that on its own. Because like Rob said, it's like I love the original Iron Man trilogy as well as the original Captain America trilogy.
Yeah.
And if I didn't watch any other films, I would have been just fine with that. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. We're tired of having to do all of this homework and watch all of these television series. And otherwise, what do I need to keep up with? A lot of people still haven't seen, a lot of Marvel films or a lot of Marvel television shows, I should say, on Disney Plus. And so what does Marvel do at this point? I think when Marvel is back is when they're just kind of, like connecting with their audience and giving the audience what they want instead of having all of this, like, I'm so tired of the homework. I personally am tired of the homework. And like Secret Invasion, what does that lead to? Does anybody care about what happens at the end of Secret Invasion and what's going to happen?
Disappointment that
So
was.
what you're saying is Disney Plus is the problem, because I think following the movies and them being connected, that was fine. Because we would go out and watch those movies, right? And if they connected, that's great. Disney Plus screwed everything up. Because now I have to watch TV and movies.
Well,
everything together.
You're showing a dependency relationship, and that's where their flaws really come into. There's one thing to connect the movies. All you have to do is a little thing like, oh, here's Tony Stark at the end of the Hulk talking to Thunderbolt Ross. That's your connection. But then recently they started making them more dependent, which is like, oh, you have to watch this movie and you have to watch the DC stuff, or else you're not going to know what's going on. It's a form of vertical integration in marketing that actually doesn't always work out well, because that means you have to get the same amount of customers to see everything each time, as opposed to just making the best product you have each time to bring in as many customers as you can.
But the problem is they brought in too many concepts that don't work. that you have like here the brilliance of the MCU for me was that they made us believe that these superheroes could possibly exist in our world. They were connected. The world of these superheroes was a believable one. The real world was it was slightly removed from ours, but we understood where everybody was coming from. When you add the TVA in, suddenly all of that reality is gone. It's gone because the TVA, we don't even know what are there different universes, different timelines? What's the difference from one to the other?
There's one TVA and there's multiple. They do explain this if you watch. I know no one watched. There's one TVA in multiple universes, and each universe has their own timelines. It gets convoluted.
Yeah, well, the problem with all that is that's Fantasyland. I know it seems strange to say this, but that broke the verisimilitude of the MCU by adding things in that have no basis. I mean, it's silly to say this, but like I can believe Tony Stark. I mean, even his nanotech armor was pushing the boundaries of credulity. But I'll buy because every fantasy project has a buy-in that they expect of the audience. And in Iron Man, you believe that Tony Stark, because all the other technology is very real, but his Iron Man technology is what he invents in the movie. I'll buy it. Whether he's got repulsors, whether he can fly, that wasn't pushing things too far. And look, they even introduced, like I was curious when the MCU started, are they going to be able to put Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America in a single believable environment? Because one's from Asgard, and then you bring all that baggage with you. Then you've got Captain America beginning in the 40s, then coming into our, and they did it beautifully. All the way up through the end of the Infinity Saga, as they added layers of fantasy to it all, you believed it.
They were building on one on top of the other, slowly but surely. It wasn't this giant rush of information, and that's what we got with the multiverse. They came in and just dropped a boatload of stuff on top of the entire fan base, and everybody's like, I don't know what's happening anymore, but I can't rock with this. Let me see what else is going on in the world of entertainment.
Well, they also didn't deal with the ramifications of what Thanos did to humanity or the rest of the because they just decided that everybody's back. And we saw in those movies, we saw when Scott Lang comes back and 5 years have passed and there's giant monuments to everybody that was lost. If you watched a show like The Leftovers, you saw what 2% of the population disappearing could do to the earth. Half the people on planet Earth went away. And what would that do to religious beliefs? What would that do to political systems, economic systems? I mean, and I know people are like, well, who cares? But the problem is by making something like that ordinary, all this other cosmic stuff. I mean, what is humanity? Oh, well, there's Arishem the judge. I guess we've already been snapped away for 5 years. So a giant celestial saying he's going to come back and judge us, whatever. And they've by doing that, they've crossed a line. And that line is, and when you watch Deadpool and Wolverine, the TVA and all that, I'm watching this going, it's all gobbledygook. Because there's you add the void and you add he who remains or all that crap. All of that is Fantasyland. That is outside the realm of what they did in the MCU, which is probably why they're having a problem with Blade. They can't figure out what to do with Blade because then how do you explain vampires in the MCU that have existed or whole civilizations where there's a secret cabal of vampires? Do they get snapped by Thanos? And if so, what happened to their secret society if half of them disappeared?
See, and that's the problem I'm saying. It's like if you're trying to interconnect everything and trying to have it all connect together, you're going to run into those logic problems that are just going to derail everything, and you're going to be struggling to make content. So I think at some point, Marvel's going to have to really draw a hard line. Hey, this is our connected universe stuff. You guys want to connect with this? There it is. And then on this other side, we're going to have completely separate storylines that don't connect to anything. I think that's kind of what James Gunn is doing right now is we've got, like our Elseworlds kind of content, with Batman and with the Penguin and what he's doing with the Matt Reeves stuff. We're going to continue to produce that. But then, we're going to have a DC, cinematic universe that's connected. And I think Marvel's going to have to start drawing that line. And then we can start asking the question, okay, is Marvel back? Because I don't think Marvel's back until they have the fans, going to theaters the way that we were going to theaters back between 2014, 15, all the way up through 2019. Like that 5-year run for Marvel. We'll never see anything like that again.
No, I mean,
if they're doing this.
Look, with Moon Knight, they have Egyptian gods battling over the big pyramids, eating the souls of people on the streets of Cairo.
How do you come?
I'm like, I mean, I'm not making that up. That's what happened in that show. And it's like, if that's going on, how does that factor into what the Avengers would do or what the X-Men would do? Now, in the original, Bill Sienkiewicz, Doug Mensch, Moon Knight, which is one of my favorite comics of all time, he was basically Marvel's version of Batman. He had multiple identities to keep his ear to the streets about what was going on in New York, and he had but then they decided to make Khonshu a real god, that interacts in the Marvel universe, and we saw that in the Moon Knight TV series. There's no ramifications. That was like a mass extinction event. How many people died in Cairo in that TV show? Not a mention anywhere.
Oh yeah, it's not even on the news.
Did those gods disappear when Thanos snapped his fingers? Where are they? And how do they exist with the pantheon of other gods? And what about like the cursed blade that we saw at the end of Eternals, where Mahershala Ali was going to talk to who becomes the Black Knight? I mean, what
is this explained in the comic? Because one thing I'm seeing in the chat here, and I wonder this too, how come we believe all this goofy shit in the comics, but then when they do it in live action, we call it out for not making sense? It doesn't make sense in the comics. It's all make believe. This goes to Star Wars.
Okay, but comics are a way different medium.
Right.
And
so that's
and
the difference. Is
what
the medium.
and what people don't understand is it's really hard to translate a comic derived property into a live action film.
Yes.
And that's what the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think their biggest mistake was going too deep into the comics and giving us the TVA and giving us Khonshu and giving us all this ridiculousness without figuring out a way to make it caress it in and make us believe.
But also not everything works in the comics either.
Right.
Very true. Man.
So to take something from the comics that doesn't work and put it on film, it's not going to work either.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to point out the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait.
But the comics.
How is James Gunn going to bring Batmite into the DC?
Which he is. Yes.
Yeah, Batmite.
Oh no.
No, he's going to have extra fifth dimensional characters and all. Well, he'll just do it.
Mr. Big.
But he knows. But the thing is, James Gunn tonally knows how to do those things very well. As we saw, he made us cry when King Shark is looking at two people in an alleyway crying from the back of a bus, and we feel for King Shark because he'll never have that in his life. He made me believe. James Gunn made me believe.
The other part too is that, and this goes to why it's so difficult to adapt a comic or a cartoon into live action, is there's a fear of committing to the idea. And that's one of the things that is the struggle that you have here. Like, James Gunn is not afraid of committing to everything that the DC universe has brought forth for it. Clearly. And he's going balls out. He says, this is how it's going to be. And if I do it well and you buy into it, we can go anywhere we want. But with MCU, their whole goal was, we have to take a page out of what Chris Nolan did with Batman. We have to make this world look as authentic and real as possible, and then slowly edge into the fantasy of Marvel. And they did a really good job with that up until the first Avengers, where they basically earned the permission to say, we can go a little bit more wackier. And then after they did Infinity War, now it's more hubris, where it's like, well, we can go do multiverses and time travel variants and all that other stuff, because we do a time travel multiverse thing already in Infinity War, Endgame. And it's like, well, you earned that, but now you've earned it and you've done it, you've resolved it. To go back to that well again and experiment in that area without actually figuring out what you can really do with it is why we got Phases 4 and 5, and probably
they also pushed a bunch of characters no one wanted and a bunch of ideology no one wanted, and that's why they failed. We could have had all the popular female characters and it would have worked, but they didn't.
They also brought in writers and directors who knew nothing
that part.
There's that part, but the thing is, nobody really wanted an Iron Man movie other than a very small set of people. No. It's not about characters whether you want them or not. It's about, can you do them well enough to make people want to see them again. Nobody really wanted a Black Panther. Heck, Ike Perlmutter didn't want a Black Panther. But when we saw him in Civil War, we're like, holy crap, this is awesome. He better get a movie. And
growing up, I was one of the few people I knew who read Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm talking about the old team, not this new team that we have in the MCU. So they made you care about that team.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? James Gunn made you care about that team.
Yeah, well, because the characters are developed. Somebody in the chat, Jave Tigit, says he disagrees with me because he believes in Hong Kong movies. Here's the difference. When you watch a wuxia movie or something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that movie establishes the kind of things the universe, people flying through the air, people landing on the edge of a plant and it establishes that and makes you believe. You're like, okay, these are the rules of this universe. So I have no problem with any of that, or the magic and like Zoo Warriors, The Magic Mountain, or you watch Big Trouble in Little China and Lopan and the Three Storms and all that, because the movie explains that reality within context of the story that's being told. The MCU already in Iron Man 1 set up a certain expectation and, like you were talking about, added to it brick by brick by brick. But then they broke it and they went too far. The TVA will never credibly exist within the MCU. It doesn't work. I mean, Loki's been interesting. You can look at it. It doesn't work in the context of everything else. So Deadpool and Wolverine, the problem I had with it was that they went in that goofy realm where I already got Days of Future Past, a pretty kick-ass X-Men story that had Wolverine at its center going back in time, that had real stakes, real people died. There was and the timeline was changed at the end, where we had the resurrection of Jean Grey and Scott and Beast, and it was affecting and it was moving. And what they've done in the MCU is destroyed all that. So people, I think that they're not quite, they know they don't like it, and they want blame it on whatever you want to blame it on, but the storytelling they set up has been broken, I think.
I think it's because they're building too fast. They're building faster than they were able to support that foundation for it. Because I can see down the road, not where they actually did it, but I could see, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, other stories in there where you could actually bring in the TVA and make it plausible, and you just kind of sort of drip it in.
But the thing is, the TVA as it's set up, like this 50s work-a-day environment it's just, the concept is so goofy. And it's born out of it. It's born out of a different kind of a sensibility, because why would something like that even exist the way it's portrayed, with libraries and weird equipment from the past? And it's bizarre. It's too bizarre.
Yeah, it's like a play on The Office.
Well, that's what it is, or Brazil, or any kind of, whether it's George Orwell, 1984, Brave New World,
Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits type of deal.
And it's all based on, and it was based on that in the comics as well. It had that wackiness to it that I think the MCU can't sustain.
This is what I think. I think the success of the MCU starting with Iron Man was that it was grounded. It was taking place in the
100%.
world. But what happened was James Gunn came along and he took it to space, and in space he made it wacky, which is fine. I like the fact that on Earth it's serious, in space it's wacky. But the problem is now the future people who writers and directors of the MCU films decide, I want to make a James Gunn movie rather than a grounded superhero movie. And they said, fine, go ahead. And so that's when everything just became one joke after the other. Because
Feige leaned into hiring TV writers from Rick and Morty, which was about the wacky stuff. The fact is that they didn't get the talent that's like, oh, how do I reconcile the tone of Guardians of the Galaxy into what we've already established with the MCU? I don't remember seeing any real writers with that pedigree that could do that. Maybe Michael Waldron to a degree, but he's he's been in the industry for at least 15 years or so.
Well, Marcus and McFeely did it in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, and they wrote
had to ground the Guardians to do that.
They wrote 9 titles in the MCU. They are essentially 1/3 of what the MCU was and what made it great. And they left after Endgame because they wanted to work on some other stuff. It looks like they're being brought back with the Russo brothers again. So that basically tells the world who's paying attention, like, yeah, they're trying to go back to basics, and they're grabbing these guys, one part out of gimmick, one part out of desperation, another part out of the fact that they have a track record that's proven. And that should be a good sign, but we're not going to see the results of that until after Fantastic Four. So
because building up to the Secret Wars, I think Secret Wars should have been the biggest thing they've done. So building up to Secret Wars at this point is going to be a monumental challenge for anybody that's writing or directing this thing. Look, Secret Wars is in, from my youth, and I haven't read the new one. I know people talk about the new one. That's probably where they're going to go. The old school one back from 84, that was my youth. That was what me and my friends talked about constantly. And if they want to bring back and they want to get the Beyonder in, they want to get Dr. Doom, they want to bring in Galactus, they got to bring in the X-Men, they got to bring in Fantastic Four, they got to bring in all of these various characters, and they got to do so in about 3 years. So I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know how
they're probably not going to bring in the Beyonder.
I mean, well, Beyonder was in the first one.
Right,
he was in the original.
We probably won't get him though.
I don't know where they're going with this. It's like they have so much work to do within the next 3 years if they're going to bring out Secret Wars in time. And to me, that's the thing that they need to get the most right if they're trying to reset this entire universe and go back to square one. They're going to have to really make sure that Secret Wars works. And I'm nervous about that. That's the one storyline I really wanted to see brought to film. Oh, even above the Infinity Gauntlet and all this, Civil War, I wanted to see Secret Wars brought to the to the big screen, the old school one. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what everybody's thoughts are. How did they get to Secret Wars from where they are right now?
Fantastic Four.
Well,
I mean, Fantastic Four has to save. It has to save Marvel.
Because
Period.
I guarantee what's coming in the next year is not
garbage.
Great looking. It's going to
be. So that's
be
1 year out. That's already 1 year dumped.
Yep.
So now we got 2 years.
And probably
2 movies, 2 TV shows we got to suffer through before we get to Fantastic Four.
They haven't even. I predict that movie will push. I predict it will push. All right. If you want to see a incredible display of superpowers, let's see Angry Badger read 23 super chats in under 10 minutes.
John Menelang, member for 24 months. 24, Kobe. Shout out to the best film crit channel on YouTube. Let's get to 169,000 subs, boys.
Thanks, John Menelang. Thank you.
Pokey for 5. Disney brought him back. They're going to make him Disney brought him back. They're going to make him do this till he's 90. I wasn't expecting Deadpool was referring to RDJ coming back to MCU. Yeah, no. That's
true.
It's true though.
At least another 10. Graph Web for 2. In the name of all things holy, for fuck's sake, cancel Disney Plus. All right, there you go. Go away, Graph. I love you. Kangaroosta for 20. Do y'all think MCU would be dumb enough to make RDJ be Doom because he died with Infinity Stones and nanotech and he'll be Stark turned Doom? We talked about that. Or just same face, different character. I think either are pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Both are dumb.
Both are dumb. The Red Dawn Batman for 5. After the success of Deadpool 3, what are the chances of us getting a Wolverine versus Hulk movie?
None.
I actually think
I hear things.
I think there will be a sort of soft sequel to Deadpool and Wolverine. And you could see that.
I think Hugh Jackman is done.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Stubble McShave for 50. With Doom and Galactus as big bads going forward, it's likely that Reed is going to be the leader of Avengers. What do you think about Pedro in that role?
I am unconvinced. What about everybody else?
It depends how well he portrays the character. I mean, everyone's trepidatious, I think, about him playing Reed Richards, but if he plays him, look, people forget when he was the Snake in Game of Thrones, he was incredibly compelling and everybody loved him until he got killed by the Mountain. And he's going to be a general in Gladiator 2. So I haven't particularly liked what he's been doing lately. I liked him in Last of Us, but he's got to be one charismatic Reed Richards to pull it off.
I think he'll look good with the white, sideburns.
But he's got to be somebody who's charming and endearing.
Yeah, his acting ability. It's going to be how it's written. How do they, how do you write the smartest man in the universe? What do you have this guy doing? As long as they write him well, Pedro Pascal is a consummate professional. He's a pretty solid actor across the board. He jumps into various genres. I think he'll be fine as long as they write him correctly.
Albert, not a retro for 5. Stark as Dr. Doom is stupid and is just about destroying the character's legacy. F Marvel, F Disney, F the MCU.
Well, how do you feel, really?
How do you feel? Yeah. Albert, not a retro for, again, another 5. Jessica Alba was horrible casting in Fantastic Four. It should have been Alicia Cuthbert. Yes.
I agree 100%.
Actress. Yes.
Yeah.
Film threat.
Creepy.
Yes.
She's too young.
Got a rumble rant here. Yeah, she was too young at the time. For 1, Chickless was great as the Thing. He really chewed up that role.
Not sure that's how you spell it.
Pilgrim Media for 2, boxing match between Badger and Doctor live.
Sure.
Wouldn't go over well. Oliver Laveri Farag for 5. I could buy John Krasinski as Reed Richards because he is so smart. He got Emily Blunt to. Yes, accurate. He got Emily Blunt to marry him.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's fair.
that's intelligent. Yes.
Not a retro for 5. I would have walked out of that auditorium so fast and with a flurry of cussing that would make a sailor blush. Nandy became a member. Shout out. Darius White for 10. Victor Von Doom is not Tony Stark. If RDJ is Doom, then you're supplanting Doom. It'll make bank, but you're going to recycle actors. I'd rather see Fassbender's Doom as a foil for Reed Richard, as would I.
Or Mads Mikkelsen or any other great actor who could have.
Cillian Murphy.
Darius White for 10. If Sam goes against the Red Hulk, I hope his superpower is Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Marvel needs to invest in traditionally black. There'll be a thing about how he can't afford the insurance or something. Marvel needs to invest in traditionally black characters from early sources. Say no to hand-me-down mantles. Yes, he was already an original character that didn't have his skin color as a trope, and now he's a hand-me-down, unfortunately. Yep. Geek Truth 64 for 199. After Fantastic Four in the 60s, just do X-Men in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. That would be great.
Yep. Thunder's Wrath for $9.99. No original Doctor Doom. No dice. RDJ is a no-go. Doom is too great to have him be recycled. Have him be a recycled Iron Man. Anybody who knows Stark is a dummy next to Reed and Doom and female Surfer. Heck no.
Trying to figure out what the chat thinks about this.
Not Kevin Feige for 2. Doesn't look anything like him. The MCU is back, and Kevin Feige is a genius.
Thanks, not Kevin Feige.
Geek Truth. Very similar to that Kathleen Kennedy account that kept super chatting us during the funeral.
Okay.
Geek Truth 64 for 199. First Steps sounds like a Rugrats prequel. Why wouldn't they call it The First Family or something? If you're
First Family would have been, yeah.
Zian Hugh for 742. Is this evidence that the movie star is not dead? RDJ, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds. Well,
yeah.
I did go see Deadpool for Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds to see if they got their movie.
Yeah, but would you go see them in any other movie? That's
right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that qualifies as technically. That's a very context specific.
If it were a musical, yes.
Yeah. Oh, the musical joke in Deadpool was great. Dragonwise for 199. They need to bring back Agent Phil Coulson.
No, they don't.
Oh, that's right. A
His
variant.
Cards. You see his cards in Happy's office.
He could be in one of those Avengers movies.
And they can kill him again.
Oh, they brought it back for that show that everybody.
This time, have Thor kill him.
President Jafar for 5. As much as I like RDJ, I'm disappointed in the Doctor Doom casting. I would have preferred Cillian Murphy for the role. Doctor Doom is my fave Marvel villain. The only thing about Murphy is I know he's filming the Peaky Blinders movie that's coming out. So maybe, or maybe he is eventually. Who knows? Albert, not a retro for 2. I blame Taika Waititi and his crappy Thor movies. Yes. And Joss Whedon. Like, he's good, but everyone tried to copy his humor. Fearless Wolf for 10. Feels like they are just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what works. Then it doesn't help that the homework HW politics, either way, whether they mean modern politics or homework or whatever. Example is Pedro.
Hollywood politics.
Oh, Hollywood politics. Shout out. Example is Pedro, not because he might be great for the role, but because he is hot property.
He's safe. That's what he is.
Yeah, he's like DA was saying though. He's just in everything. Red French Moon for 2. Rob, congrats on your SDC CE panel and happy B-Day.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Rob, when does it come out for all of us to watch? When is that going to be available for everybody?
The panel?
No. The noir.
Oh, you'll be able to hear it. It's an audio drama. So probably end of September, all 10 episodes. Nice. And you can support the Kickstarter is running now. It's not expensive. The Kickstarter is really just to buy it, not to make it. We're already deep into production. And you can buy it on many different formats.
We will put the link in the description. We'll do that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. The script is incredible and the actors killed it.
Katie Sackhoff is in it, right?
Katie Sackhoff is in it.
Yeah, it's audio only, right?
Yeah.
Someone said, "Is she nude?" And I said, "Yes, she is."
She actually does. She does have a love scene.
Oh, there you
that's
go.
True. That's true, by the way.
Full frontal in my mind. Thoughts on fitness, Nigel? Julian McMahon should have been cast.
Go.
Yeah, well.
Film. Thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, Latino Slant, and Chicago Box. Appreciate you guys.
All right, sound off on
Lord.
any plugs. Starting with Badge, with EA.
Yeah, tonight I'll be hanging out. I'm doing the nightcap. I'm going to cover a lot of stuff that came out of Comic-Con, and we're also going to be talking about Star Wars, the next era of Star Wars. What can we expect, post-Acolyte? We're going to get into that tonight on the nightcap. So if anybody's hanging up super late, okay, it's probably going to start at 10 p.m. Pacific. Come join in. It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, Robert.
Well, you can find me on my channel, The Burnett Work, on YouTube. Follow me on X at RMBEE. And also, please go over the Kickstarter page, True Noir. Check it out. Give it a listen and see if it's something you want to support, because we need your support.
Dante.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Verbal Riot on Rumble, YouTube, and X. I'm also going to be doing my own separate video on the events of Comic-Con, and wish me luck, guys. I filed my appeal today to YouTube for my monetization, so we'll see how that goes.
Wish you well.
That's it.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD, on YouTube at youtube.com/ScriptDoctor. And if you want to get more details on my thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. and what Marvel might be doing with this announcement of Dr. Doom, you can check that out on my Patreon, which also gives you advance notice and details of this week's script that we'll be reviewing on Saturday called Upset.
Badger.
Yeah, 3 videos a day. I do a live stream every day, one of which is coming up in like 5 minutes. I put the link in the private chat if Lori wouldn't mind putting that out. And then, because she didn't write herself, thank you, Lori, for all your modding. I see you do. And thank you, Chris, for having me. Appreciate it. And the panel, of course.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Go over to Badger's channel. He'll be live in 5 minutes. That's it versus Alan and I will be back on Wednesday for a post-Comic-Con chill stream for Hollywood on the Rocks.
And we'll be, Are You Racist? Is Chris racist? We'll be talking about that.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that on Wednesday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Really, I've looked forward to this show. It's like talking to my youth family here. Just love it. And I'll be fully recovered by Wednesday. That's it, Alan.
Let's get out of here.